With the days of doorbusters long gone, the calendar creep of Black Friday has now made its way.
Black Friday, the most important season of the year for your e-commerce business, but also the most expensive. You're battling corporate giants like Apple, Nike, and many more for ad space. So what happens is ad costs skyrocket. And for the past 5 years, I've been scaling e-commerce businesses left, right, and center, and I've been seeing so many brands fail to understand that there is a specific way to manufacture your Black Friday and Cyber Monday season to capitalize on it profitably, which means you're not just scaling revenue and actually losing money after the season ends, but you're actually keeping those profits and you're locking in serious growth for your e-commerce business. And so what I did is I created this system that you can replicate yourself so that you can actually deploy these strategies in your Black Friday, Cyber Monday season for your specific brand and see amazing results as an outcome. And so while everybody just scrambles and panics and just tries to do everything last minute, you'll be equipped with the tools that are necessary for you to understand how to deploy a winning Black Friday, Cyber Monday strategy that is going to help you scale your business in record time. So this system is very simple. I call it Creative, Audience, and Profit Plan. And by the end of this video, I'm actually going to be sharing with you my Black Friday, Cyber Monday battle plan for free. So first up is C, obviously for creative. And we all understand in this channel that your creatives are the cornerstone of your growth strategy, which means if you don't have good creatives, you're just not going to scale. I don't care what type of battle plan, what type of strategy you have or you try to deploy. If you are not making good ads, you're just not going to succeed. And it's even more important today with the latest update to Meta's algorithm, which is Andromeda update. With this update, it's even more important that we start giving so much importance to creatives and making good quality ads with the quantity necessary for us to scale. So the core premise is very simple. I want you to think about it for a second, and I want you to internalize this paradigm. During Black Friday, Cyber Monday, you cannot outspend your competitors. Okay, if we accept this reality, it puts us in the kind of a tough spot where we need to think about a leverage play that we can use so that we don't have to just deploy capital as our only solution. We need to understand that competitors have bigger budgets, they have better funding, more funding, they've got better unit economics, they've got a lot going for them that you don't have. And so when we start thinking like that, now we start thinking about, okay, how can we outthink them? How can we create a strategy that is leveraged in a way that we don't need the assets that they have? We don't need the big budgets. We don't need the huge VC backing. We don't need all of that. We just need a strategy that is going to guarantee us leverage, basically allow us to get the results that we want, regardless of what the competitors do. And it all starts with your creative. And so what happens is you need to understand that Amazon is running ads, Target is running ads, Nike, Apple, all of these big guys, the big players are running ads with a huge quantity. So what happens is invisible creatives or creatives that don't hit a nerve or just lazy or they're just not well made, not well thought of, all of these types of creatives, they're just going to become invisible in this season. And you add this to the fact that Meta just dropped Andromeda, which is a system that actually retrieves, classifies, and distributes the ads. You're just not going to be retrieved as a good ad. And so what happens, you're just not going to get, I would say, distribution that you would want for your ads. So the stakes are high. There's a lot going against us, but if we have a clear strategy when it comes to our creatives, it's going to be very, very profitable for us. Don't go into the Black Friday, Cyber Monday like you would do it in 2020, for example, where you could run just a simple ad with just basic, I would say, copy with just a basic offer, a basic 20% off, whatever, and think that you're going to be successful, right? It's not the case anymore. The cost of failure here in 2025 is going to be magnified by a lot. So we know that ad costs are going to be expensive. If your creative game is weak, you're just not going to stand out. So a strong creative can make or break a campaign. We need to understand that we can actually engineer a strategy on the creative side that is going to guarantee that we have leverage results or outsized returns, okay? So first point when it comes to your creatives is always be clear about what your offer is, and don't try to be clever. Don't try to overcomplicate things or make things super clever. Just be clear. okay? Clarity over cleverness, always, always, always. So this is really not the time for your subtle messaging or like your artistic creatives or your engagement baiting creatives. Like this is not the time for it, please. You need to be very clear. You don't want to make your customers think about what they're actually seeing. You want them to understand at a subconscious level that, hey, this is an offer, this is what it offers, this is what I'm getting for what price or for what commitment from my side. Another thing, very self-explanatory, mobile first design. 90% of your traffic is going to be going through mobile. You know, I don't have to say this, but it's just a given. So make sure you design your ads for mobile as well. You need to have a lot of urgency, okay? And there's a way to do it. I'm going to share with you some copy frameworks that we can do, that we can inject in our copy to get the results that we want. But it's very important that you inject urgency in your creatives. The principle is that every single ad must feel temporary. If I sense as a customer that this offer is an offer that is probably going to be there next month, or this offer is going to be there next week, I don't have to act right now. If I have that feeling as a customer, why am I going to purchase today? The consumer need to understand that this is a today deal that I cannot miss. If I have that in the ad, if the ad gives me that vibe, that's a winning ad. That's a good ad. Next thing is everything needs to be cohesive. So from your ad to the product page, and then even the post-purchase, if you're doing upsells or doing some special stuff on the back end for retention, everything needs to be coherent and cohesive, which means if I see a specific framework in your ad when it comes to copy, specific wording, specific colors, whatever that catch me as a crawler, and I go onto your website and it's just your standard homepage or your standard website with nothing on it, there's no continuity between the ad and the website, and then I go to the product page and there's no mention of the offer, or there's just nothing that speaks to what I saw on the ad, that's a huge problem. Right? And what we see is that a significant portion of your traffic is going to be lost, or you're going to lose that portion of the traffic just because you haven't been cohesive. When it comes to visual elements, the first thing, you need to be aggressive visually, right? So your offer needs to be super prominent on the creative. I need to understand it at a subconscious level, what it is that I'm getting, right? So we need to do a good job at the visual hierarchy. We're showing the customer exactly what we want them to see with a specific sequencing, right? So don't be shy, show your offer. Yeah, I see a lot of creatives from really prominent brands, like the offer in like this corner, like it's a typography or a specific font that's smaller than the headline, for example. That's not good, right? Because you're not doing justice to the offer that you're running, right? We need to show it very clearly. The second point, and I highly encourage that you apply this, is having Black Friday, Cyber Monday specific branding. So specific colors or a specific design or a specific color theme. Show that this is a special season that is fixed in time, and this is a one-time thing. If every single creative that you've been running for the past year just carries out through Black Friday, Cyber Monday, you're not creating that novelty effect in your customers, right? So I want you to recycle all the winning ads that you've been winning with this year, obviously, but I want you to tweak them in a specific way to help customers understand that there's a special offer going on. Now, when it comes to copy and messaging, to start using power words that are meant to trigger certain parts of the brain to understand that this is to drive a certain behavior. So we've got urgency, you've got ends tonight, 24 hours only, you've got last chance, you've got final, will really communicate the urgency. When it comes to value, we want to communicate value through our creatives. There's words like massive, biggest ever, bonus, everything. So everything is on sale or 30% off everything. Like words like these really communicate how valuable the offer is. Third point is exclusivity. So we've got VIP, we've got secret sale, we've got for subscribers only or for VIPs only. These words will show that this offer, so it might be a pre-Black Friday, Cyber Monday campaign that you're running to gather emails. The next thing is with Andromeda, we need to focus on multiple angles. And that's just because we want to maximize our chances of being selected by the AI to be distributed and shown to customers. So you need to think about what are the top angles that you've been running with and having success with over the past few months and leveraging these in Black Friday, Cyber Monday. The third and last point is that your call to action needs what we call steroids. So if you're just relying on shop now, that's just not enough. We want to be more specific and we want to to have a little bit more urgency. And so what we would like to say, for example, is like shop the final sale before it's gone, right? That could be one. The second one could be claim your 50% deal. A third option is like get your free gift now or get your XYZ now. So all of these call to actions are a little bit more powerful than your standard shop now, right? So next we have audience. This is the second aspect of the plan. This is the pillar where I would say most brands go broke just because they keep on focusing on new customers during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and they just end up inflating their CAC to levels they've never seen before, and it completely destroys their profitability, right? So we need to address this point. You need to stop acquiring during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and even the weeks leading up to it. You need to start harvesting. And what that means is you must deliberately shift your focus from acquiring new customers and just bringing in new sales to converting your existing customers, to maximizing your email list, to getting your subscribers engaged as much as possible, and just extracting as much value and cash as possible from your owned audiences. Your email list, your social engagers, your past customers, all of these people have already committed to your brand, so you might as well capitalize on them to make sure that you're just not inflating your CAC. Because let's be honest, these people are dramatically cheaper to advertise to and to convert than your traditional cold traffic sources. Cold traffic is a red ocean in November, for example. And your warm audience is where your unfair advantage is. So the more focus you place on your warm audiences and building them up in October is going to be the month where you want to be acquiring as many customers as possible, but also building your email list, building your VIP segments, building your SMS list, building all of these owned audiences that are just going to be the low-hanging fruit in November. So the first point is that segmentation is key because it allows you to personalize your marketing to specific segments within your market. Okay, and that's super powerful because personalization goes a long way to boosting your conversions. So here's how to build your Black Friday, Cyber Monday hit list. The first thing is your past purchasers. People who have purchased in the past, I would include those as a VIP segment because these people have already given you money. So the strategy is very simple. You want to include them in a communication stream that tells them that they're a VIP, first of all, so cementing their status within your brand ecosystem, and then obviously offering them stuff that other people do not get. So essentially, early access, better discounts, a lot more gifts or free gifts, whatever you can within your economic reality, because it just reinforces who they are within your brand ecosystem. The other segment that you will have is your cart abandoners and your site visitors. For example, your site visitors for the past 14 days or your cart abandoners for the past 14 days, you need to have a lot of people inside those segments for it to work, right? Otherwise, you're just not going to have a good distribution. So it totally depends on where you are, which revenue bracket or at what scale you're operating at with your brand, but that's an amazing segment as well. So the other segment is your engaged community. So people who engage with you on socials, these are really valuable to you just because they're engaging with your profile, they're engaging with your brand, they're just not purchasing at the moment, right? So you need to keep them in the loop. We create a massive retargeting audience that has the engagers, the visitors, and the abandoned carts in it. And within those three segments, we will put ads that are relevant to each one of those segments. And we would let Meta actually distribute it depending on where the customers are. So the last segment, that last audience segment that you need to keep in mind is obviously your list, your email list, and this is going to be your primary sales channel. Okay, this is where you're basically going to be harvesting the hard work that you've been doing over the past few weeks. So you need to let them know about the sale a little bit earlier. You need to tease them. You need to have last chances emails. In the weeks leading up to Black Friday, I would run ads to capture as many emails and as many phone numbers as possible. The second thing is that on socials, you need to understand that the most valuable segment is going to be the engagers. And so to get more engagers, you need to have engaging content with which they can engage. So I would run these targeted campaigns that are not ads, but it's essentially you're running polls, you're running quizzes, you're just engaging with your communities. You're also going to have to create a VIP segment, either as if it makes sense for your brand, you could do a close friends on Instagram stories, or just build a segment in your Klaviyo, for example. And this is where you let people know that they are a special type of customer for you, and you're giving them perks and you're giving them stuff that you're just not giving to other people. And then last step is to deploy a multi-channel attack. So I want your customers to see an ad, then receive an email, then get an SMS potentially, and then see a retargeting ad, and then see a Google ad campaign, and then see another ad on TikTok, and just see your organic post, for example, and just go to your profile and see that you have stories up, and then you have different types of content that they can engage with, etc., etc. It's like creating a web of content your customers will get lost in. right? That's what you want, and that's how you capture attention. Trust me, I've seen brands making 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, and keeping zero in the bank. And it's not pretty, and you don't want to be there. It's a very stressful position to be in. And it's even more important to discuss this subject in Black Friday, where we are most likely going to generate amazing results in terms of revenue. And so we don't want to get lost in revenue. We want to be able to map out exactly how much profit we want to extract of this season so that we're not surprised by December. So the silent killer of profit is obviously high ad spend. That's why I say you need to plan out your strategy way ahead of time, just because you don't want to be doing things in the urgency of the moment, right? So you don't want to be seeing that your strategy is not working and you're just doubling budget overnight, or you're just, you're not prepared and you're seeing all of these brands generating amazing results and you're just increasing your ad spend thinking that that's going to solve your problem, where your problem most likely lies in a bad offer, bad execution, or even bad unit economics. So having a clear profit plan really cements you not as a gambler, but as a CEO executing a precise financial strategy. The first rule, every single decision that you take, whether it's increasing ad spend or decreasing ad spend, it needs to be deeply rooted in data. And you need to be able to justify it mathematically. So I don't want any gut feelings. I don't want any decisions made just because you had 3 bad hours. I don't want decisions based on emotions. The second point, know your numbers. I don't care if you're spending $1,000, $100,000, $1 million a month, whatever the case may be. I want you to know your numbers and be able to justify why your CAC is this number and why your break even is that number and why your target is such and such number. I need you to be able to justify it with conviction. This leads me to my third point, which is profit is designed. It's not accidental. You just don't sit at your desk hoping for profit. You actively design it weeks ahead of the execution of your strategy. And so weeks ahead of the strategy being deployed, you actually know how much you're going to be making in profit. That's what you want, or at least you've mapped it out and you kind of expect a number, right? Sometimes things may change and you need to adapt to things, but you know exactly what is the plan and you're executing towards a certain North Star, which is your profit. So the first metric that you need to understand is obviously your break-even ROAS. So at what point are you profitable and at what point are you unprofitable? Okay. If an ad is below a 2x and your 2x is your break even, you just kill it. If your ad or your campaign is performing above a 2x, right, consistently, you scale it. Very simple. So the way to calculate your break even ROAS is very simple. 1 divided by gross margin, and that's it. So let's say your break-even margins are 60%, you do 1 divided by 0.6 and you get a break-even ROAS of 1.66. And so, like I said, this number is critical because it's your floor. Anything above it is good to go. Anything below it, you need to look at your campaigns and really assess what is not working for you to get a number above that break even. The next thing is blended ROAS or marketing efficiency ratio, like a MER, whatever you want to call it. It's essentially your total revenue divided by total ad spend. And so this is very important because it shows us in an era where you just can't track 100%, per channel. It shows you the overall health of your marketing ecosystem, especially if you're, just advertising on multiple platforms and you can't make sense of the data on individual platforms. And it allows you to make decisions based on that number. The other metric is your target ROAS. So now that you have your break even, you want to ask yourself, how much profit do I want to pay myself before we start marketing the product? And so it tells us exactly, out of $60, for example, I want to be able to keep $20 just to have a 20% net margin, for example. So if we do the math really quick, that leaves me with $40 pre-marketing. What that means is I'm left with $40 to spend on marketing. So if I'm left with $40, to calculate my target ROAS, what I would do is I would do 100, which is the price of the product, divided by 40. And that's going to give me my target ROAS, which is 2.5. Okay, so my target is 2.5. My break even is 1.6. Anything between 1.6 and 2.5, I'm not in my optimal profit zone. Okay, but I'm still profitable. I'm just not making $20 per unit that I'm selling. And so with these numbers, if we know these numbers, like if I know that my break even is 1.6 and my profit zone is between 1.6 and 2.5, and I want to be making 2.5 just because I targeted $20 that I want to make in my pocket, all your decisions are based on these numbers. If I fall short, I know how much profit I am actually making. It's very easy to pinpoint why and to pinpoint where things broke. But if I don't know these numbers, I don't know if I succeeded, I didn't succeed, I see some random revenue on Shopify, how much profit, how much money am I actually keeping, right? And so it's a different game. It's a different reality. You go from a gambler, like I said, to a full-blown CEO that's executing a meticulously crafted strategy. And that right there, my friend, is the C.A.P framework. Now, as promised, you can find your free Black Friday battle plan with this whole framework for you to implement. And if you're in the process of scaling to 7 figures, multiple 7 figures, or even 8 figures in sales, and you need a partner, that's exactly what I do. I've helped multiple brands get there, and we can explore doing the same for you. You can use the link in my description, the first one that you're gonna see, and talk with me directly. For those that are new to the channel, consider subscribing, liking. Let me know in the comments if this subject made sense for you, what type of content you want to see in the future, and I'll see you on the next video. Cheers.